If you want weak muscles, joints, bones, teeth, ligaments, tendons, don't get BioTrust, which has the 5 collagens that you need for strong joints, bones, muscles, teeth, ligaments, and tendons. Just don't get it. Now, if you do want strong bones, joints, ligaments, tendons, and teeth, then you're going to want to check out my link in the description below. Go to healthwithflix.com, watch a couple videos, and pick some of this stuff up. You'll be glad you did.
You know, this is just me thinking out loud, but I wonder if the woman whose pregnant belly George Floyd put a gun up to would be marching in the streets in protest today. Guys, we already know that truth is treason in the empire of lies, and we know that truth is the new hate speech, and truth is still truth even if no one believes it, and lies are still lies even if everyone believes it. So this might be a real unpopular video right here, but I'm about to agree with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez on a lot of what she says, but a lot of what she says that's true is said in utter hypocrisy. Before we get into this video, if you guys enjoy my content, remember I've just recently been completely demonetized on both of my channels, the High Impact Flicks and High Impact Vlogs channel. If you enjoy this content and you get something positive out of it, I've got my Patreon, PayPal, Subscribestar, and Bitcoin links in the description below. And if you want to support the channel further, you can grab one of these hard-hitting, conversation-starting shirts from the shirt store. Also, visit highimpactflix.com and sign up for my free newsletter. And I'm live streaming every night, almost every night at 7:30 exclusively on DLive. Also visit my BitChute channel because that's going to help us sidestep all of this censorship garbage going on. Take it away, Alexandria.
We would not be giving local police departments who are undertrained a tank if we didn't give the military too much money to have extra damn tanks lying around.
I gotta agree with that statement. The military industrial complex is one of the biggest scourges on America next to the Pentagon, the Zionist International Banking Cartel coming out of the Federal Reserve, and the domestic terror cell known as the IRS, not to mention Washington's District of Criminals, of which Alexandria is a part of because she's a Title 28, Section 3002, 15A corporate employee looking out for corporate interests, not the interest of the American people.
To begin with. These are systemic problems. They do not go away by changing a tactic. They do not go away by banning a chokehold. They do not go away by tweaking $1 million in a budget. They come with wholesale change. Every night, police are actively charging groups of peaceful protesters. We just had an unconscionable attack last night. We're now seeing tactics, and we're hearing reports of tactics where we have protesters. And, you know, I think about so much of this moment has also brought me into flashbacks of Standing Rock. And I think one thing that was just so important.
The current protests you're seeing now, which has descended to rioting and looting and burning down businesses, is completely different from Standing Rock, which was a peaceful protest.
In Standing Rock, no, we did not call each other protesters. We were protectors. And that's who you are. If you are out there in the street right now, you are a protector for Black lives.
She's literally calling looters and rioters and utter thugs protectors. Just think about that. That's who Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is calling a protector. Somebody who's going to break the glass of a business, walk into that business with all of his other thug friends, go to the cash register, steal money out of the cash register, and steal all the products off that business's shelf. She's calling those rioters and looters, she's calling those people protectors.
If you are out there disciplined, listening to Black-led organizations and activists out on the front line, giving your treasure, your blood, your purse, any of it.
She's being racist. She's singling out a people group. When you single out and give preference to a people group, that's called feeding into systemic racism.
You are standing up as a protector right now. And that's why we can't stop with people saying that the answer to this is some retraining. I am not down right now. And I don't have patience right now for people think that this is going to be a tweak around the edges type of situation. This is going to take tough, bold, political sacrifices. Let's also talk about how the federal government enables the injustices that are happening on the ground. One, we've got
She is the federal government. She is enabling injustices on the ground. She should be talking to herself. This is in complete hypocrisy, guys. She's a big part of the problem.
qualified immunity here in the United States of America, and that also is subject to federal
I'm going to back this up.
sacrifices. Let's also talk about how the federal government enables the injustices that are happening on the ground. One, we've got qualified immunity here in the United States of America, and that also is subject to federal jurisdiction. What does that mean? That means that if you're a police officer, or if you are any other, if you are not just police, but a large range of public officials, you have
I don't know, say congressmen or senators, people in Washington's District of Criminals like the Nazi Pelosi's and the Chucky Schumers and the Adam Schiff brains and the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortezes of the world.
Immunity from being held accountable for wrongdoing, including constitutional violations, which means
wrongdoing, including constitutional violations. This chick right here has qualified immunity as she and her band of misfits continue to make laws completely diametrically opposed to the Constitution on a daily basis.
When you create two tiers of the law, you cease to have a rule of law. Because when you start holding different people to different standards of accountability for the same crime, we start to erode the rule of law. We start to create an abutting.
Is there not a different standard for politicians? Think about Dennis Hastert. He was the Speaker of the House for 8 years, and yet a federal judge declared that he was a serial child molester. This guy is second in line for the presidency of the United States. And you think it stops there? It goes up and it goes down. The Washington's District of Criminals, the reason it's the cesspool that it is because it is filled with unadulterated, immoral, pedophilic people and lawmakers like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez herself.
Form of second-class citizenship. And we also begin to write injustice into the law. So we need to get rid of qualified immunity. I'm proud to have co-sponsored legislation to repeal it.
She is not going to abandon her qualified immunity. She has qualified immunity and she's going to co-sponsor a law that's going to get rid of police qualified immunity. Yes, police do need to get rid of they need to drop the Kevlar of qualified immunity. They are responsible for their own actions. They should no longer be able to hide behind, well, I was just following orders. I was just doing my job. That doesn't cut it. It didn't cut it for the SS officers at the Nuremberg trials, and it doesn't cut it for American police officers, and it definitely doesn't cut it for the congressmen and senators in the cesspool of Washington, D.C.
So another thing that we need to see, and I think this is something that we saw it in Ferguson especially, but we've seen it across the country. The militarization of our police is enabled by the federal government.
This is true, and she's a part of the federal government. We were warned a long time ago by Eisenhower to stand guard against the dangers of the military-industrial complex. And yet every congressman, every senator feeds the military-industrial complex every single year, throwing funny money at it by the Federal Reserve International Banking Cartel. All these people, like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, are Zionists in the back pocket of the Zionist International Banking Cartel. If a politician actually cared about Americans, the first thing they would do is get rid of the monkey on our backs, the IRS domestic terror cell, and they don't do it. Why is that, Alexandria?
And I want everyone to draw a direct line between our police budget and our defense budget here in the United States of America, because we would not be giving local police departments who are undertrained a tank if we didn't give the military too much money to have extra damn tanks lying around to begin with.
I can't argue with that. That's sound logic. Sound logic coming from the liberal mush brain of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I totally agree with it. Military-industrial complex will be our downfall because they will be used by the Zionist international banking cartel to take away more of our rights, more of our freedoms, and more of our wealth as they incarcerate us and push us toward the smart cities under Agenda 2030.
To begin with. And so the same budgetary injustices. Now, Martin Luther King, he said, budgets are moral documents. They show what our priorities and commitments are as a nation and as a society. And the same problems that we are seeing, on a city council level and on a city level, which are, you have an entire city budget and half of that budget goes to policing and a shred to education, a shred to mental health services.
The Department of Education should also be dismantled. Why? Because it's being used as the government indoctrination program for our small kids, and we don't need that in our lives.
For hospitals, that is mirrored on the federal level. It is in the image of its creator. And what you see in the federal budget is a complete outsized military budget. And again, a crumb for education, a crumb for the actual investments that can prevent conflict to begin with. And so when we talk about our issues with policing, I want people to really understand that this has actual consequences on the federal level.
So there you go. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez actually speaking some truth in hypocrisy. Remember, all these people are political parasites. The salary for people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is $174,000 every single year. Do you make $174,000 a year? That comes out to about $85 an hour that these charlatans are making off the backs of taxpayers as people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez write laws that serve two purposes. It transfers power and it transfers wealth. The power is transferred from the people to parasites like Cortez, and it transfers wealth to parasites like Cortez from Americans as it empowers the international banking cartel. But nobody's going to talk about that. You won't get that from CNN or MSLSD or Phone News or any of the other corporate media talking heads who act as the propaganda arm for the military-industrial complex, which Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez says she's against, but in actuality, she really isn't. If you guys enjoy these videos, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon, give them a thumbs up, share them with everybody you know, and don't forget to subscribe to my private email list through my website, highimpactflix.com. I am now going exclusively on DLive for all my live streams. I'll be live tonight at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Also, subscribe to my BitChute channel, my Gab channel, my Twitter account, and Facebook so that we can sidestep all this censorship garbage going on. If you want to support the channel, the Patreon, PayPal, Bitcoin, and Subscribestar links are in the description below. And if you want to grab one of these hard-hitting conversation-starting shirts from the shirt store, like this Gulag shirt, your purchase helps support more content on this channel. I will see you guys in the next heavily censored, shadow banned, and now 100% demonetized video.